Super excited because with us on set today is Monte A. Melnick, who is the author of On the Road with the Ramones and our own resident music expert, Louis Vaccarelli. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Hey, nice to have you here.
Glad to be anywhere these days.
I know, right? It's so intense. This is fun. So, Monte, you were the road manager for how many years of this career?
Well, I started off working as soundman and roadie, and then worked up to road manager, tour manager. 20 years, over 20 years.
So great. And you, Lou, with your music background, I just decided it would be fun to have a conversation.
Yes, sure. Yeah, in the 70s, 70 music.
The good old days.
Good old days. Right. That will never happen again.
So with the Ramones, what label were they with?
Sire Records, then Radioactive Records, which was part of, I think, Warner.
Warner Music.
Yeah.
So back then, when they were starting out, what was the music industry like in the early days?
Well, they came out of, it was a glam rock era.
Okay.
And then it was just the punk rock was starting, like the Iggy was around and MC5, so they were influenced by those bands. So, and then there wasn't that really named punk rock at the time, but after a few shows, the papers came out and said punk rock, and they really didn't like the name punk rock. They just wanted to be called rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Yeah.
And for you too, working at the labels all that time, did you see those genres starting to change?
Yeah.
Based upon those times?
Actually, at the time, you don't really see it.
You don't, looking back.
No. Yeah, I mean, looking back, then 70s music, 80s music, 90s, soundtrack of a decade, but you don't really realize that what's going on or what's changing at the moment, at the time it's happening.
Were you there when they hit it really big? Because you were with them the whole time. It's like, what were some of those breakout songs that you say, oh my gosh, now our life is different?
Well, Blitzkrieg Bop, Hey Ho, Let's Go. Now it's a jock rock song. You go to
let's go.
Ball games, when they're going to have ball games, football games, and they go, hey ho, let's go.
Right.
To be that on a jock rock album is amazing. Actually, they're bigger now than when they were around, actually.
Yeah, why do you think that's happening? What's the resurgence for them?
Well, unfortunately, the four originals passed away.
Right.
And after that, they started to get onto commercials, into TV shows, soundtracks, movie soundtracks. They became so much bigger. And I tell this joke all the time. If the Ramones were this big when I was working for them, I would have had a big raise. I mean, they saw the Beatles, Stones, Ramones. It's amazing how big they are now.
Yeah.
It's just sad that the four originals are not here to really see how big they are.
Yeah, that is, similar. We were talking the other day when Lou, back in the archives, you found all this old extra Elvis material. Elvis's career still goes strong. It just keeps going on and on and on. So,
the old masters. Back ends of somebody else's master, because they would record over and you find and discover something new, and you would think 30 years later finding new rock. Yeah. Well,
actually, one of the managers of the Ramones is Jan Paul, and all they do is handle dead rock stars, Elvis, the Doors, the Ramones, and there's millions to be made from the dead rock stars,
Right, because they're finding new materials or they're repackaging it in a cool, exciting way. Speaking of repackaging things, so which version of your book is this now, Monte?
This is the bonus edition. You got to get it with the red Ramones on it. It says bonus edition. I added 40 more pages. The book initially came out in 2004. Had a couple of regular editions and an updated edition 2010, and this is the latest one. And it's been out in 7 different languages also.
This must make you feel so happy. Was your family excited when they were able to actually hold this in their hands?
Yeah, I talk about my family because I talk about how I got into the Ramones. I grew up with Tommy Ramone. I went to junior high school and high school with him, and I was in actually a few bands before the Ramones with Tommy, so it's a thrill.
You're also considered the 5th.
Yes.
Well, no, actually, I don't like that because I'm actually like the 9th, because Marky was the 5th, and there was Richie, CJ, other people. So I'm not like the 9th or 10th, maybe.
Okay.
All right, we'll go with the 9th.
Because,
the 9th and a half.
Yeah.
How about 9.5?
Yeah.
We'll go with 9.5. For you, Lou, in the music industry, when you were able to see bands play live, is there a special moment that you feel like, whether it's CBGBs, was there a certain place that you went?
Well, the special moments were when they performed just for the label, and it was a very intimate setting, and it was acoustic, and it was totally different. I mean, the sounds and how they sounded, not not studioized, not worked over with the studio work.
Did you get the CBGB's much?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That was like the home base. A lot of bands started there because Hilly Crystal, who was the owner of the CBGB's, let bands come in that wasn't top 40. You just play your own material. So it was terrific. All these bands came in with their own material. They didn't care, and it was the scene started down there.
How about you? Besides the Hey Ho, any other songs of theirs that you still kind of sing when you're like
rock away beach? Go to the beach with that. I want to be sedated.
Yeah.
That's a good song for this time of
oh my gosh,
2020 here. We all want to be sedated, right?
I know, right? So when somebody wants to add their music now to something, right, and they want to sync, what's synchronization, right? So, I want to be sedated. Is there a website that people go to find that out? How does that happen?
There's two different organizations. No, the Ramones are Linda Ramone, Johnny's wife, and Mickey Lee's, Joey's brother, are Ramones Corporation. So they got to go through those two entities.
Okay.
And it's separate management. So there's a whole rigmarole you got to go through to get the songs.
Some of the people that are in this book, it's really great because they said that you also gave them credit where credit was due. So Monte, it's not just a story of you, but when people get a chance to read this, and it's nice and thick, right, with lots of pictures. It's a good, decent book.
Right.
Yeah.
So you tell the story of many different things. So if anybody ever wanted to live in your shoes,
it's also it's more of an oral history too, because I interview a lot of people that were involved with the band, and so it's oral history and my talking about it. And the cover, by the way, is by John Holmstrom, a great artist, cartoonist who did Punk magazine. So when I was looking to the cover, I said, what am I going to put on the cover? Because usually the cover has like the picture of the band.
Right.
But there were 4 or 5 different band lineups.
Right.
So I put myself in the van there with all the 8 Ramones. There was 8 different Ramones over the years.
There you go.
it's nice. And the bonus edition is the one to have.
Yeah, that's the latest one with 40 more pages in it.
And there's one little story before we wrap up that you were showing me where something was happening in a photo. So can you share that with our audience? Because that's a cool, fun behind-the-scenes story.
Well, this is the subterranean jungle photo here. That's an outtake of it.
Okay.
And at the time, Marky was drinking and he was being kicked out of the band, but he didn't know it.
Right.
So the actual picture they used was this, where they stuck Marky in the side there. He didn't know he was being fired, but he thought it was a special moment for him there. But he actually he's out of the band after that moment. And George DeBow is a great photographer. He did like 7 different album covers.
Well,
also this one here, this is an outtake of the Adios Amigos album, which is this is just an outtake. They're actually facing away from the firing squad. That's me over there. I'm the Mexican. So
there you go.
I made it to the back cover of the Ramones album.
9.5.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you very much for spending some time with us today, and I look forward to spending even more time with the book because it's not a quick read. It's something that you want to just savor and enjoy page by page. So thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. Glad you liked it.
Yeah. So hey, let's go. Thank you very, very much, Lou. Always a pleasure to have you here in front of the scenes. As you're our executive producer. It's nice when you come and spend some time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a fan, and who's not a fan of the Ramones, right? Buy the book. Stay tuned.